Did you know ASBN, America's Small Business Network, is now available on your TV? That's right. ASBN is now streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick, and available for download in the App Store. Scan the QR code to download the ASBN app today. Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks for watching another edition of the Small Business Show, exclusively at ASBN.com and now streaming on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. The use of creativity can make your business thrive. Today we're discussing how the mix of art and business leads to success in your business. Joining us now is the world-famous Erik Wahl, internationally known speaker, artist, keynote speaker, I should say, and best-selling author. So Erik, welcome back to the show. We very much appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Yeah, Jim, thanks for the invitation. I'm looking forward to our discussion here, so appreciate it.
Sure, that's great. So why is creativity and artistry important for small businesses and entrepreneurs out there?
It is like mental exercising. So what we're experiencing is so much disruption in socially, politically, institutionally, economically. There's a lot of elements that are at working in conjunction with each other. It's creating kind of a perfect storm of uncertainty, but it's also creating tremendous opportunity. So really, as things become more disrupted, more digital, more artificially intelligent, our ability to tap into intellectual intelligence, the number one meta skill that we can teach our kids in school and to use in work is mental agility, mental adaptability, to not kind of hope for when we return to the good old days, but to understand the landscape is fundamentally changing. In fact, it is changing in such a fundamental way with AI and machine learning that it is going to distort our very perception of reality going forward. So we need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. We need to become agile thinkers to be able to shift, adapt, adjust. And so really art is a channel by which to be able to expand our consciousness. So is painting going to create breakthrough ideas? No. But the skills created to think creatively and to adapt, to differentiate from the competition, to create unique customer experiences, to humanize your brand, humanize your business in an increasingly artificially intelligent world are going to be game changers going forward, to not just compete, but to really change the game. So I'm a firm believer that creativity is one of those channels by which we're able to expand consciousness to larger levels of complex problem solving.
Yeah, it's very, very good points for sure. How can entrepreneurs, from your vantage point, or your viewpoint, I should say, leverage artistry in their business? Can you share an example maybe of a business that integrated artistry and the impact that it may have had in the growth of that brand?
Yeah, it wouldn't be artistry directly, as in painting, sculpting, dancing, cooking, but it is again those skills. And so when I address companies that have fundamentally changed the landscape for their industry, Uber, Salesforce, Apple, that's been done through complex problem solving. I would bet if we were to unpack going back to its origin for how these companies developed, that there would be some very artistical, possibly musically talented, possibly dance. There's just so many elements of the creative process that is the foundation for those game-changing businesses. Those are the opportunities I think now. So again, artistry would be the channel by which to reach those levels of complex problem solving and new opportunities as entrepreneurs.
Sure. Balancing creativity with practicality can be a challenge. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs to find the right balance?
The balance is the key. As I work with artists, trying to get them to be more disciplined, more accountable, expand their brand. That's the big chink in their armor. Yeah. If we go to the business side, helping them to be more non-dualistic in their thinking approach, to be able to adapt, to change, to not be so linear, so logical that they miss opportunities that are extending out on the horizon. So it's not either or, but rather yes and. How do we embrace both our creative, curious, emotional side of our mind with our analytical, logical, disciplined problem-solving place in our mind? So, creativity, and this is where I talk about the discipline of creativity to activate the data. That creativity without discipline is like a river without banks. It's just kind of a natural disasters. We have to be focused. We have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
We have to expand out into consciousness and then contract and focus and execute. And then expand back out into consciousness and then contract and focus and execute. So it's that loop of thinking, creative problem solving that creates the opportunities.
Sure, fantastic. So, in a lot of companies too, people are afraid to think outside the box, right? And even share that with their higher ups, right? And to allow themselves to be creative, because they might get called out, for that, to say, no, we're working on this. We only want to work on this. This is the project at hand. This is the road we're going down. Do you know what I mean? And you'll get people that go, well, I don't want to jump out of that stream right there. I've got a lot of great ideas, but I don't know if it's a good idea to bring them up, right?
New ideas will always face resistance.
Yeah.
Every time we haven't experienced it before. So to realize that when we pose a new idea, now if I'm looking to present something to my higher ups, my executives, to get them to take different action, the onus is then on me to use the right words, the triggers, understand the high levels of why I'm making this suggestion, create those bullet points, create all the logic for why we're suggesting this, and then lay it out and present it to them in a compelling fashion. That's where the words we use, the language we choose, the psychology on who we're presenting to, all of those things are very important for folks to be able to get company buy-in, to get team buy-in, to get everyone on the same page. It takes leadership, and it takes artistry, and it takes creativity and curiosity. So all of those elements lead to those who control the purse strings, that they would be inclined to loosen it up, to create new ideas or take a few calculated risks based on this logic and creativity that's being presented in front of them.
That's right. And all too often you'll hear entrepreneurs or companies, company employees that will become disenfranchised with the business that they're working at because they're not encouraged to think outside the box or to be creative. Many entrepreneurs, and maybe I was there myself as a lead of a company, where I said, no, it's my way or it's the highway. This is what I want to get done. This is my vision, and everybody needs to carry it out. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall into that, when in reality, the best ideas from that company may come from its employees, right? I mean, that needs to be encouraged, not discouraged.
Right. And that's been fundamental for years. Companies that are able to do that value everyone's voice at the table. And we look at people like my way or the highway, or you do it this, or they feel unvalued. That's not unique to entrepreneurs. Right. We talk about our educational system. Teachers become teachers because they want to serve. They want to work with kids. They want to help them develop their minds. But oftentimes, after a teacher's been even teaching for 1 or 2 years, the entire notion of what it means to inspire kids becomes drowned out by standardized testing.
That's right.
By the administrators, the board, whatever it is that says we can only do educating this way. And if you're not meeting these standards, then you will be punished. Same thing in healthcare. Nurses want to serve. They want to nurture people. They want to care for people. Yet they get into the healthcare system and they start getting pressure from the administrators, from the, the balance sheet says, hey, we've got to move patients in and out. And the reason they became nurses becomes compromised. So in almost every industry, we face that resistance to understand you're not alone. And you might not be set for that particular company or that particular industry. Sure. But those are choices we all have to make, because it feels better to be valued by your employer or company or brand than it does to, constantly be fighting and disappointed by their reaction to your, minor inquiries on how we might be able to perform at a higher level together.
Sure. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs who are looking to tap into their own artistic talents for their business? Because it's so vitally important today, right?
Well, I encourage basically differentiated thinking. So different kind of neural net waves of connections that we would typically use. Some fundamental ones: wear your watch on your opposite hand. And while you're wearing that throughout the day, it's like, oh, that's strange. Oh yeah, I want to be thinking of different ideas. brush your teeth with your left hand, drive a different way to work than you normally do. We kind of get in and coast on autopilot.
We do. I'm guilty. Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah.
I want to be practicing what I preach. So that's the way that I do this. Oftentimes I will drive a different route to the performance or where I'm going to be presenting, because I want to be outside my autopilot self and engaged and on and thinking and fully present.
Yeah, no question about it. Hey, let's talk about your speaking business. I've seen you speak and you knock the cover off the ball, and in fact, way out over the stands. And I think that so many companies have enjoyed you as a speaker and learned from you in your messages and certainly in your books and such. But when last time we spoke, we were knee deep in COVID-19, and certainly we both survived that, which is good news. How is your business today? I know that the speaking business got a little bit tough there for a couple of years, but is it back?
Yeah, Jim, it is. I wouldn't say entirely back, and I'm not interested in doing the same number of dates that I did pre-COVID. COVID gave me a chance to recalibrate and figure out what is the amount of work-life balance I want to have. Sure. A lot of people have been experiencing that. But for us, it was interesting because I saw the potential during COVID that live performances are going to be completely disintermediated by the internet, by Zoom meetings, in person. So we were fully prepared to retire and say, it was a great run. That was fantastic. But what we noticed, I think so many companies noticed, is there's no substitute for live. There's no substitute for live music. Right. It's more fun to go to a concert and share this experience with your tribe of peers than it is to watch it on your Netflix screen in bed. For our kids and education, we can educate them online. However, there's value for bringing all of our kids together in the same room, to having them kind of create those social connections. So the same thing with our business, with professional speaking, is, some people did do it online, and technically they channeled some of the information, but there's no substitute for live performances.
Yeah, that's right.
So much of mine is visual, it's emotional, it's connecting all of these elements. So I'm delighted that live performances have come back online and that I get to still do this for work. I'm really grateful. Yeah,
that's fantastic. That really is. Erik Wahl, internationally recognized artist, keynote speaker, best-selling author, incredible speaker, I might say. So if you're out there and you're looking for a speaker to really light up your next event, this is the guy that you want. Erik Wahl, thank you so much for joining us once again on the show. It's great catching up with you. Great to hear things are going well for you, and hopefully we can call on you again.
I will be here again. Likewise, I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate getting to chat with you again, and look forward to the next time.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.